Sri Lankan Navy has apprehended a multi-day fishing trawler which was transporting more than 225 kilograms of heroin.
The estimated value of the heroin haul is around to be 4.5 billion rupees. The fishing trawler carrying the stock of narcotics was intercepted and taken to the Colombo port this morning. The operation was conducted after receiving information from the State Intelligence Service. The multi-day trawler, which had left from Kudavella Fisheries Harbour in Tangol, was intercepted by Vijayabahu vessel belonging to the Sri Lankan Navy. 5 suspects aged between 30 to 48 years have been taken into custody over the incident. These suspects have been identified as residents of Kudavella, Tisamarama, Kottagoda and Mamandala areas. 9 sacks containing 200 parcels of heroin were found aboard the fishing vessel. Senior advisor on national security to the President and the Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagala Ratnayaka, and Navy Commander Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira inspected the and apprehended contrabands. The narcotic stocks have been handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for further investigations. Senior advisor on national security to the President and Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagala Ratnayaka, said the initial operation was executed based on intelligence provided by the Police Narcotics Bureau. While the most recent operation, according to the information from the State Intelligence Service, was carried out by the Navy. He said the widespread global network of drug trafficking necessitates ongoing efforts to safeguard the population from this peril. He further said in collaboration with the Navy, police and various government agencies, Sri Lanka actively conducts drug raids. These endeavours result in the apprehension of approximately 65% of drugs attempting to enter the country, with the remaining 35% still making their way. Furthermore, he said there are concerning possibility of arms trafficking intertwined with these drug traders. Vigilance in this regard is paramount, as it could pose a substantial threat to national security. To address these challenges, he said that the development of new legislation is underway, with the creation of an anti-narcotic command in progress. He also said the proposed laws are in preparation and will be presented to Parliament for future implementation.
The new ministers who were sworn in before the President yesterday assumed in their duties today. Minister Kelly Rambukwella, who was sworn in as the Minister of Environment, assumed in his ministerial duties today at the Ministry of Environment. Minister Kelly Rambukwella said that reassigning to another ministry is not an unnatural phenomenon. He said that the Ministry of Environment has been bestowed upon him considering the importance of the subject area in the international arena. New Health Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathiran assumed duties at the Health Ministry today. Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathiran said that necessary structural and personnel changes are bound to occur and no one should take such changes personally. Minister Mahinda Amaravira, who was sworn in as the Minister of Plantations, assumed duties at the Ministry of Plantations in Battaramulla. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that he returned the ministerial portfolio pertaining to the Wildlife Ministry upon the request of the Podujana Peramuna. He pointed out the importance in distributing ministries based on a scientific methodology. He added that the President has rectified a mistake which had occurred in the past.
තැනකට මේවා එන්න ඕන කියලා. ඉතිහාසයේ වෙච්ච වැරද්දක් ජනාධිපතිතුමා නිවැරදි කරලා තියෙනවා. නිදහස් පක්ෂයට දීපු එක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ එතුමන්ලට. අපි മന്ത്രിවරු පහක් නේ අපි පක්ෂය 14 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මේ පක්ෂය අපි කෙලින්ම ආණ්ඩුව කඩාකප්පල් කළා නැහැ. කිසිම වෙලාවක ආණ්ඩුවේ ගමනට බාධාවක් කළා නැහැ. මෛත්‍රීපාල ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් හැම හොඳ තැනකදීම සහයෝගය ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් එක්ක පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ മന്ത്രിවරු තරහ වුණොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? නෑ මං එහෙම තත්ත්වයක් ඇති මේ ඉන්නේ පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ മന്ത്രിවරු තමයි ඉන්නේ. එහෙම තරහක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. සියලුම දෙනාගේ මහගෙදර ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ.
State Minister Ranjit Siambalapati, who was designated as the non-cabinet State Plantation Enterprise Reforms Minister, assumed in his duties at the ministry in Battaramulla today. Minister Ranjit Siambalapati said that the President is a leader who has driven the country towards a positive change while fulfilling the responsibilities bestowed upon him within a period of 1 year. 3 newly appointed ambassadors to Sri Lanka handed over their credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat this morning.
New ambassadors have been appointed for Switzerland, European Union and Iran. Accordingly, Dr. Siri Walt handed over her credentials as the new ambassador of Switzerland in Colombo. The new ambassador of the European Union in Colombo is Carmen Moreno. Dr. Ali Reza Delkosh presented her credential as the ambassador of Iran in Colombo. State Minister Tharaka Balasuriya and Secretary to the President Samanika Naika were present on this occasion. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur in many parts of the country tomorrow after 1 p.m.
The department has indicated that showers will also occur in several parts in the central Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces during morning hours. Examination activities of the students in many areas of Matra district have been severely affected due to the inclement weather conditions. 4 schools in Mulatiana Educational Zone were closed today due to floods. Many areas in the lower valley of the Nilwala River have been inundated. The vehicular movement along the Kamurupitiya Matra road was hampered after Polatugoda and Akurugoda areas have been inundated. Reports have indicated that Kadduwa Matra road, Kamurupitiya and Athuralia roads had also been disrupted. Tangol Veeraketiya Road was inundated near the 2nd mile post area due to overflowing of Kirama oil. Vehicular movement was hampered as many low-lying areas and roads were inundated. The sluice gates of the Murutavela Reservoir were opened slightly last evening due to the prevailing heavy rains. The water level in the reservoir reduced to 500 acre-feet during last month due to the dry weather condition. Meanwhile, steps were taken to open 3 sluice gates of the Polgolla Mahaveli Dam as a result of the heavy showers in the central hills.
Cabinet approval was granted to issue free tourist visas to tourists arriving from 7 countries. Minister Harim Fernando in a tweet has said that the free tourist visas will be granted until the 31st of March next year. Accordingly, Cabinet approved to issue free tourist visas for tourists from India, China, Russia, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia and Thailand. The objective of this initiative is to increase the number of tourists visiting Sri Lanka to 5 million in a year. Several new tourism promotion programs have been planned for the promotion of Sri Lankan tourism industry. Minister Harim Fernando indicated that Sri Lanka is among the top 20 countries recommended as a tourist destination and the maximum benefits should be repeated from the opportunity. The minister also said the proposed program will increase the efficiency of the process to obtain visas and expected to increase the arrival of foreign tourists in Sri Lanka. The International Committee Red Cross says that Hamas group has released 2 women held captive by Hamas in Gaza.
The armed wing of the Hamas organization said the 2 captives were released following mediation from Qatar and Egypt. In a statement, they said that captives had been released for humanitarian reasons and poor health grounds. The release of the 2 hostages was confirmed by the International Committee of the Red Cross. Hamas captured more than 200 people, including Israelis and dual nationals, during an assault on southern Israel on October 7th. The Palestinian group killed more than 1,400 people, many of them civilians, during the attack. According to Israeli authorities, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has demanded the unconditional release of all hostages held in Gaza. Human rights groups, international organizations and families of those held captive has also called for their immediate release. Well, that's an update coming from the ICRC on the situation with regards to the conflict. The Israel-Hamas conflict is showing no signs of ceasing. We have been hearing updates that humanitarian aid has finally made its way to Gaza via Egypt, and to provide you an update about the humanitarian situation with regards to the conflict, and also about an update on the United Nations involvement in the conflict, we're joined by senior journalist and our foreign news analyst, Mr. Prasad Dodangudagi.
Yes, Lakshita. Now, when we see the situation in Gaza, it's a total disaster, and massive humanitarian crisis is unfolding in front of our eyes. Because now, a short while ago, as you mentioned, United Nations aid agency in Gaza that deals with Palestinians announced that they are going to cease their operations from tomorrow, because they, according to the United Nations officials, there is no ground situation to carry out their humanitarian mission. First, they need oil. A strict oil embargo has been slapped on Gaza, so they don't have oil to operate their vehicles and other equipment. And at the same time, yesterday even 6 UN officials were killed in Gaza. Those are Palestinians working for United Nations in Gaza. They were killed due to an Israeli attack. So previously there were 11 deaths among UN staff were reported. And even UN shelters, there are reports that Israel bombardment targeted UN shelters in Gaza as well. So these are the very, very conflicting and very disturbing reports we receive from Gaza. At the same time, due to this oil embargo, Gaza civilians, the people who are living in Gaza, they don't have proper water supply, because the Gaza's water purification units, they were operated using oil, powered by oil. So Israel cut off the full supply of oil since 2 weeks back. The massive attack, brutal attack launched by Hamas on Israel, killing 1,400, over 1,400 civilians. So since then, the oil embargo is in place. Now that Gaza's all what we call this purification units, water purification units, are not in a functional state. At the same time, due to the international pressure, Israel opened one of now the earlier Gaza people received water from Israel as well via 3 pipelines. According to reports, Israel opened one pipeline because the water supply in Gaza was falling very drastically. That means now, according to the current situation, only 3 liters of water received by one family of Gaza. So it's totally not enough for their day-to-day activities. Only drinking purposes they use that little amount of water. So that's another crisis, water crisis. At the same time, due to oil embargo, the hospitals are going to, I mean, they are without power due to that massive crisis, because incubators and other ventilators, most of these machines are without power. So another crisis is there. I mean, we could see from many areas, many sides, the day by day situation in Gaza get worsening, and at the same time Israel bombardment continues. And according to Palestinian Health Authority, which operates in Gaza, it's under Hamas, but still we get some reports, and some of these reports are verified by aid agencies and relief workers. According to Palestinian health authorities, over 700 Palestinians, Gaza people, were killed during last 24 hours due to Israeli airstrikes. So yesterday it was over 400, now it's over 700. So we could imagine the magnitude of the bombing air raid campaign conducted by Israel forces. However, they delayed their military offensive, I mean the ground operation, because according to military experts, there are many reasons behind that. Israel defense forces are still studying the Gaza situation. Today we saw 2 hostages were released, and those hostages provide some kind of detail regarding the places they were kept. That old ladies very clearly mentioned that they were held inside tunnels, underground tunnels. So it will be not an easy task for even Israel forces to squeeze into Gaza and find those tunnels and rescue those hostages. It will be a very, very difficult situation. That's why, according to international military experts, that's one of the main reasons that Israel is delaying their much anticipated ground offensive. At the same time, there is a threat to the shipping in Red Sea, according to United States of America. US has warned to ships that are sailing via Red Sea of Yemen that there is a risk of missile and drone attacks, citing that one US ship got a missile attack as well as a drone attack, but US Navy repulsed the attack, according to US military sources, and they say, after that United States of America declared that area is not very safe for shipping. So that could be that's one example that current crisis is expanding beyond the borders of Israel and Palestine. So that's one major clash. If that reports are correct, it's one major clash, and it's a threat for the international supply route, according to the US military sources.
We'd like to thank Mr. Dulangodage for that update. Will the purported withdrawal of the UN forces from Gaza be an escalation of the Israel-Hamas conflict, and will the conflict spill over to become an international crisis? We promise to bring you more updates as the situation on the ground grows.
And continuing with other news, Ambassador of Sri Lanka in Israel, Nimal Bandara, says the family members of the late Anula Ratnayaka Jayatilaka had identified the body who was killed from an attack launched by the Hamas militants. He said that measures will be taken to return the remains of the deceased migrant worker back to Sri Lanka.
I had an opportunity to visit the funeral parlor where the body kept missing person we suspected, Miss Anula Jayatilaka, and the body which we found and identified by the Israel authority, we went there and opened. We communicated with the family members of the Miss Anula Jayatilaka, her son, daughter, spouse, and one lady members of her family. And I have given the evidence which they highlighted regarding her body. And according to given by the video evidence and the birthmark, finally they identify the body as their mother. Therefore, we would like to send this body as soon as possible after end of the religious ceremony and the last respect by the society and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and FIBA. Tomorrow around 11 o'clock, we would like to organize this ceremony in the funeral parlor with the massive crowd of the Sri Lankan community in Israel.
And in other stories, International Monetary Fund says Sri Lanka has been successful in implementing the recommended reforms to recover from the economic crisis. Executive Director of the fund, Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, made these remarks when he met with the State Minister Shehan Semasinghe. The meeting was held at the Ministry of Finance yesterday. The IMF Executive Director said that Sri Lanka is in the path to obtain the second disbursement from the International Monetary Fund after completing majority of the proposed reforms as required. The State Minister, while commending the assistance extended by the IMF, said that they are positive over the second disbursement. The State Minister also said that the successful completion of the IMF program would lead to the creation of a sustainable economy in the country. Discussions were also held over the support extended by bilateral creditors, including India, in the debt restructuring process.
Chairman of the Welfare Benefits Board, Jayantha Vijayaratne, urged beneficiaries to promptly open a bank account and access entitled benefits. He made these remarks during a meeting held recently at the Presidential Secretariat. It was revealed during the meeting that beneficiaries whose names have been listed at regional secretariats are yet to open bank accounts to receive their entitled benefits. The chairman disclosed that approximately 156,000 beneficiaries have faced delays in receiving their payments due to delays in opening bank accounts. Accordingly, it was decided to extend the opportunity for applicants to open bank accounts with the condition that applicants provide their national identity cards within 6 months. It was also decided to declare a special work week to complete all benefit payment activities by the end of December.
Today marks the 29th commemoration of the former minister and veteran politician late Gamini Dissanayake. Floral tributes were offered to the statue of the late minister in front of the Mahavali Centre in Colombo. Entering the parliament in the year 1970, late Gamini Dissanayake held many ministerial portfolios, including irrigation, highways, power and energy, lands, plantations and Mahavali. He passed away from an LTTE terrorist attack in 1994 while he was taking part in a presidential election rally as the opposition leader. He was 52 years at the age of his demise. Former Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, Governor of the Central Province Naveen Dissanayake and family members were present on the occasion.
The Teachers and Principals Union organised a protest march in Colombo today demanding to resolve the teacher-principal salary anomalies. The protest march was commenced near the Buddhadasa grounds in Palavatta. Police fired tear gas and water cannons in attempts to disperse the protesters near the Palamthuna junction in Palavatta. Amidst the obstruction, protesters continued the march and staged their demonstration in front of the Ministry of Education.
With that, we take a look at a few more local news items in brief. Education Ministry has announced that the GCE advanced level examination for this year will be held from the 4th to the 31st of January next year. Accordingly, the third term of the 2023 school year has been amended. The second phase of the second term will be held until next Friday. The first phase of the third school term will be held from the 1st of next month till the 22nd of December. School holidays will be from 23rd of December to the 1st of January. Accordingly, the second phase of the third school term will be held from the 1st of February to the 16th of February 2024. Two suspects have been taken into custody while attempting to claim a parcel from the Central Mail Exchange by the officers attached to the Police Narcotics Bureau. The police have said that shots were also fired during the raid. The Court of Appeal has issued a writ order revoking the decision taken to direct all persons aged over 60 in 4 grades of Sri Lanka's nursing services on compulsory retirement. Accordingly, the Court of Appeal ordered to recall all nurses aged over 60 under the 4 grades who were already sent on retirement to rejoin the service. The Supreme Court ordered to suspend a lawyer from his practice for a period of 8 months after attempting to record the proceedings of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the Easter Sunday attacks using a mobile phone. The relevant order was issued after hearing a complaint lodged in this regard by the Secretary of the Commission. Hewana Dululage Shanta, who was working at the Sirikota headquarters for nearly 30 years, has suddenly passed away. His remains were kept at the party headquarters for nearly 1 hour. The national organizer for the UNP, Sagala Ratnayaka, and General Secretary of the party, Palita Range Bandara, paid their last respects to the deceased.
Cabinet approval has been granted to compile a code of conduct for parliamentarians in Sri Lanka and to establish an independent body for the supervision. Minister Wijayadasa Rajapaksa has mentioned in the proposal to obtain the views of the Speaker and all party leaders on the parliamentary draft before the preparation of the draft bill. The Cabinet approval has been granted to call resolutions for the construction of a floating solar photovoltaic power plant in Samanalabava Reservoir. The relevant proposal was presented by Minister Kanchana Wijesekara. Requirement to amend the Sri Lanka Transport Board Act has been recognised, considering the need of sufficient legal provisions to take legal action against the offences of passengers and other parties while causing loss of revenue receivable to the board. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the resolution furnished by Minister Bandula Gunawardena to draft a bill to Reserved Act. Approval of the Cabinet Ministers was granted to the resolution furnished by the Acting Minister of Transport and Highways, Lasanthala Gevanna, to prepare a draft bill for the implementation of e-motoring project. The clearance of Attorney General has been granted for the draft bill of Shop and Office Employees Regulation of Employment and Remuneration Amendment Act prepared by the legal draftsman. Therefore, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the proposal submitted by Minister Manusha Nanayakara to publish the said draft bill in the Government Gazette notification and subsequently table in the Parliament for the concurrence. The Act has been amended, enabling the female employees' engagement in night shifts in the offices related to various fields and sectors.
Minister Jeevan Thondaman emphasizes that there are no plans to increase the water tariffs. Instead, he said that the ministry is diligently working on implementing a water tariff formula set to roll out in January next year. The minister made these remarks while addressing the news briefing at the Presidential Media Centre today.
There's been misinformation that it was passed around post that, where there's this rumor going around that we are increasing the prices of water and as such. But as all of you are aware, last time when I had a press conference, I made it very clear that along with the ADB consultants and also external consultants, we are working on a water tariff formula that is to come in January. And after the August 2023 water tariff hike, there would not be another water tariff hike which will be put forth to Cabinet, but rather we are working on a cost recovery formula, and that formula is being drafted by the Water Board along with the Asian Development Bank. It's part of our policy-based loan sub-program, which will give us $100 million to the centralized budget upon completion, and post that we have sub-program 2, which will give us another $100 million. So as far as the water tariff is concerned, I would like to give clarity and a very clear statement that there is not going to be a water tariff hike, except a water tariff formula will come in place, and I think it would be coming in place in January.
An art exhibition organised by 10 senior artists in Sri Lanka was held at the Lina Wen Gallery recently. The main objective of the exhibition was to create and understand among the youth on how to achieve emotional well-being in their lives through art. They claim that the youth, exhausted by the increasing social competition, has the ability to gain some emotional relief through the form of art. The artistic creations of Janaka Ratnayaka, Gunasiri Kolambage, Susantha Nanayakara, Shirani Nanayakara, Anura Srinath, Gamini Abekon, Vasantha Sirivardhana, Sunil Katugampala and Rohan Disanayaka featured in the exhibition. Foreign news is coming up next. On to foreign news. Foreign media reports say that the world's oldest dog ever recorded to live on Earth has died at the age of 31 and 165 days. Guinness World Record holder Bobby, a purebred Rafedo, passed away in his home in Portugal. His death was announced on social media by a veterinarian who met Bobby several times. Bobby became both the oldest living dog and the oldest dog ever in February, beating an almost century-old record for the latter title. The previous oldest dog ever was an Australia's Bluey, who died in 1939 at the age of 29 years and 5 months.
And in sports news, Tarushi Karuna Ratna, who won a gold medal at the Asian Games, managed to secure a new record at the All Ceylon Schools Athletic Championship today.
The All Ceylon Schools Athletic Championship was commenced yesterday at the Sukatadasa Stadium in Colombo. The tournament will continue till the 27th. Tarushi is competing in the tournament representing Wallala A. Ratnayaka Central College, taking part in the third heat of the 400 metres women's event. She managed to finish the event with a timing of 53.21 seconds, securing a new tournament record. The previous record was at 54.22 seconds. A ceremony to felicitate athletes who won medals at the recently concluded Asian Games was held at the National Olympics Committee Auditorium yesterday. The committee chair, Maxwell De Silva, said plans are underway to safeguard the athletes in the country. Sri Lanka won 1 gold medal, 2 silver medals and 2 bronze medals at the Asian Games held in China. Medal-winning athletes, their coaches, National Olympic Committee officials and Sports Ministry officials were present on the occasion.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's news bulletin. We invite you to join with us tomorrow for more of the very latest.